You were talking about Passover, right?
Yep.
Like the Last Supper, where this other multiplication of the loaves was the Passover celebration. So, okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. You meant you were telling the Passover or the Last Supper?
Well, I was talking about Passover.
Yeah.
They had the lamb, they had to consume the whole lamb.
Yeah. Again, there's so much theology in here. Passover. What was the significance of the lamb? What did they have to do with this lamb? First of all, they had to get a lamb. Tell me what kind of lamb it had to be. Unblemished lamb. A perfect lamb. Then what do they have to do with it? They had to kill it. Then what do they have to do? They had a hyssop branch. And what do they do with the blood? They put it on their doorpost. What was the importance of putting the blood over the doorpost? The angel of death would pass over them. So they were saved by this blood. Right? And then what do they have to do with the lamb?
Eat it.
Eat it. Isn't that the new covenant? Who is the unblemished lamb in the new covenant? Christ. What did He do for our benefit? He died on the cross. What did His blood do? It saves us. What do we do with His body? We eat it. I don't know how much simpler it can be. That's why I bring up excellent point. It's really important to know the Old Testament sometimes, because many things in the Old Testament are fulfilled in the New Testament. You ready for a theological word? It's called typology. Typology. Events that occur in the Old Testament are fulfilled in the New Testament. So the Passover and now Christ in the Eucharist. Typology. Can anyone think of any other typology in the Old Testament and the New Testament? I'll test you a little bit.
Baptism?
Ooh! Baptism! How? What happened in the Old Testament? What's that? Okay, we're on the right track. Water. Any events happen in the Old Testament that save people by going through water? An event. Charlton Heston? Remember the Israelites? Charlton Heston, he goes through the Red Sea, a.k.a. Moses. Remember, Moses he parted the Red Sea. They walked through the water, and by going through the water, they were saved. Remember when we just talked about baptism? Water saves you. Typology. Oh.
Also the same place where they went through the Red Sea is also where Jesus was baptized.
Okay. We're going to test out Old Testament here. Moses, remember, they fled out of Egypt and they parted the Red Sea, and he took the chosen people through the Red Sea, remember? And then all the Pharaoh's soldiers went into the Red Sea, and then what happened to them? They were perished, right? And then what happened? Moses and his people are on the other side. What happened to them? What did they do for the next 40 years? They wandered in the desert. Were they in the chosen land yet? No. They were tested in the desert for 40 years. And then just before they were to go into the promised land, again, they had to go through the Jordan River. So the same thing. They had the Ark of the Covenant. And the priests carried the Ark of the Covenant in front of them. For those of you who've been in my Wednesday class, it's a piece of cake, right? So they took the Ark of the Covenant. And the priest walked into the Jordan River. And the Jordan River stopped. And again, they walked through the Jordan River into the promised land. And then the river went in. That's where Jesus was baptized. Where they crossed into the promised land. I can see this class is going to have to go another 10 weeks. This is so much fun. What's that?
Baptized then by John the Baptist.
That's where he baptized him, in the Jordan River.
We'll talk about that.
So,
What book is that in?
it is in Joshua. I believe it's in Joshua. I'm very sure it's in Joshua. That's where the chosen people crossed the Jordan.
Begins, yes.
What's that?
Joshua 3, it says the crossing began.
There you go.
Begun.
Joshua.
And then they had the preparation for the crossing, then the crossing.
We're just going all kinds. Oh, this is so. Oh, God. Oh. There's so much we can talk about here. Eucharist. This is our belief of the Eucharist. That's why it's so important to us. We believe Christ really is present in our church. And now those are just some instances in Scripture. And then we talked about, this is one of the easiest doctrines to prove in the Catholic Church. Everywhere you go, you find evidence of this was the belief. You go into the very early history of the church. This is what they believed. You go into the successors of the apostles and they wrote, this is what they believed. This was the belief of the church. The belief that the Eucharist really is the body and blood of Christ. Christ rose around 33. This was in belief. No question. For almost 1,500 years. No one questioned it. But then the Reformation occurred. And then people started to put different understandings on the understanding of the Eucharist. Remember we just talked about Lutherans? They believed now that Christ is only with the bread during the service. Then you go to other reformers and they started to believe other things. And then later on, let me just... This person named Zwingli, just for you, he is the one who said, no, 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 no. The bread and the wine are symbols only. He is the one who started that understanding. And this is the understanding of most of our evangelical friends. Our Baptists, Assemblies of God, evangelicals, Christian churches. Most of them believe that when they celebrate the Lord's Supper, it is only a symbol. Christ really isn't present. It's only a symbol. So we take this stuff and I go to Deb's church. And they do this. They use saltine crackers and grape juice. And they say, this is a symbol of Christ's body. This is a symbol of His blood. But they don't believe it really is.
Well, some churches don't even have communion at all.
Very good.
Maybe once a month.
Do you realize there's a lot of different denominations out there, and there's several different understandings of the Lord's Supper? There are some churches who do not even celebrate the Lord's Supper, period. Does anyone know Quakers? Quakers. They do not celebrate the Lord's Supper. Now this one here might floor you. Do you know that the Salvation Army is a church?
Yeah.
Do you know that? Those guys that ring the bell? They're a church. Started in 1865 by a person, William Booth. They don't celebrate the Lord's Supper. They don't even celebrate baptism.
The Jewish.
Well, Jews, that's a different story. I'm talking in the Christian circle. So there's several different beliefs out there. I want you to be aware of it. Huh?
They believe in the Trinity.
Yeah, they believe in the Trinity. But there's
It's
different...
interesting how they pick and choose.
So,
But they believe in it all.
the Eucharist.